It's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below, right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live, like now, post a new video. In a moment, we're going to be discussing what is intersex, like what does intersex mean, right? Before we get into that though, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity book. And as you probably already know, asexuality is part of LGBT plus QIA or LGBT plus. Now, LGBT plus QIA, the I stands for intersex, if you didn't already know that. So you might be thinking, what is intersex? Like, if you've never heard of it before. But, well, I came across an Indian guy in one of the Indian asexual groups that was, and obviously still is, intersex. Well, I say obviously, because, you know, with intersex people, they are often born with both male and female genitalia. So they're born like with some male reproductive organs and some female reproductive organs. So that can be very, very difficult for them. But I'm going to read out, oh, thanks for the thumbs up. I'm going to read out actually what it says, because I know someone who's intersex, like I say, but I personally don't know anyone in person, the offline world at the moment, who is intersex. I only know them online. So if we go to what does it mean to be intersex, this is an article by www.npr.org. In the area of 1 in 2,000 people are born intersex. These individuals may have mixed genitalia, meaning some combination of ovaries and testes. This comes about either because of ovarian and testicular tissue grow together in the same organ, or because a male side and a female side develop in the body. Intersex is a general term used for a variety of situations in which a person is born with reproductive or sexual anatomy that doesn't fit the boxes of female or male. Sometimes doctors do surgeries on intersex babies and children to make their bodies fit binary ideals of male and female. Now this can be very, very damaging to someone who's intersex. So someone who's born with male and female genitalia, they might want to decide for themselves at a later date whether or not they want to remove any of their genitalia at all. Liam, hello Sandra, you're beautiful. We are part of the LGBT plus, but we are also our own sexuality. We are our own sexuality, Liam. Asexuality, absolutely. I totally agree with you, 100%. Lots of love to you. Nice to see you again. And so with someone who's intersex, they're born often with male and female genitalia. And this makes it, thanks for the thumbs up, and this makes it very, very difficult for them, you know. They get a lot of stick for if they come out as that, you know. And what can be very difficult is if their parents or one of their parents decides for them when they are babies what you know, gender they want their kid to be. So, for example, if the kid's born with both male and female genitalia, they might decide they just want to have a boy and then have surgery done to the intersex baby to make it a boy and cut out the girl parts, and vice versa, cut out the girl parts because they want a boy. And this can be very, very destructive to the individual growing up, you know, because they might not feel more like a guy, but yet their parents might cut out their female bits, you know, not them literally, got the surgeon to do it, and vice versa. So this can be very, very destructive to the child, very destructive to their health and well-being later on. It can cause them a lot of mental health issues because they feel like they're not completely themselves. They feel like being a gender binary is very difficult for them. Often you can get intersex people who grow up and they might decide they don't want to be any particular gender. They want to be non-binary. Some days they may feel more female, other days they may feel more male. They may want to present as female but still look more male. They may want to present the other way as well. So, you know, there's a lot of issues that crop up for these people, and you know, they do suffer a lot of you know, a lot of stigma, a lot of abuse, in a sense, you know, like doctors are kind of like fascinated and seem to want to use some of them as an experiment, that type of thing. And it's very humiliating. You know, I read there's a guy who like is quite well known in the Indian asexual community for being an activist for intersex, you know, and he's gone through a lot in his life, and he was explaining, you know, how the doctors were with him, and you know, things he's had to go through, and humiliations and embarrassment, because you know, they you know, they're kind of staring at his bit and kind of like wanting to, you know, use it for their research purposes, and kind of like, you know, it's just asking him to do disgusting stuff, and it's just horrible, you know. But there are you know, there are intersex activists more than this person, and you know, this person obviously, if they weren't intersex, then they wouldn't be able to help other people right now. So I'm really proud of that person and anyone else who's intersex, you know. It's often you know, known as what's it called? It's often known as hermaphrodite, I think it's known as well. So, you know, an intersex person can appear to have one kind of genitalia on the outside and another internally. So, you know, there are there's someone who's a YouTuber called Pigeon. They're an intersex activist. If you haven't seen their channel, they're very interesting to look at and to watch and to learn more about. So they're quite a famous intersex YouTuber. And so, you know, for a happy, healthy LGBTQ plus community, advice and support is given to intersex people as well. But, you know, it can be very difficult. It can be very challenging, you know, when you're a different type of sexuality, as we know from being asexual. Being in a sexual minority can be very difficult, and I think it's hard for asexuals. I can only just imagine what it would be like if you were born with two sets of genitalia. You know, it's like if you're presented with that and it's actually your own body. I mean, how do you choose between whether you want to be female or male? I mean, maybe non-binary is the ideal way for you to go, you know, because it must be very difficult. But I'm guessing that, you know, some identify as non-binary. I think a lot do, from what I've seen in the research I've done, which is not extensive, but it's enough to see that, you know, quite a lot of intersex people, they like to be able to decide for themselves at a later date as to whether they want to be male or female, if they want to have surgery or not. And some of them like to stick to non-binary. Some of them like to have surgery to be a male, but yet still might like to dress up female sometimes, you know. I think it's important to honor the person and what they want. I think it's very sad if people take away that decision for them when they're younger, you know. I think it's sad in the sense that they should be allowed to make their own decision on that. However, I do understand that, you know, like the parents probably want to, you know, choose one or the other, maybe to help the intersex. Well, they might think they're helping the intersex person by making the decision, but you know, it's going to be biased towards whether they probably want a boy or a girl, and I think that probably can hurt the intersex person somewhat, you know, because it's like, how do you decide between my two genders that I'm naturally am? You know, if they've naturally got male and female genitalia, is what an intersex person often does. It's like, how does the parent decide whether they want to be them to have a boy or a girl? And I expect there could be resentment built up in the child as it grows up if the parent did actually decide to go ahead with surgery and, you know, decided to make them a guy or a girl when they didn't feel like that. They felt like the opposite of that, or they just didn't want a gender binary, you know. So I think it's really important to know these people exist. You know, and obviously if you get into a relationship with one and they might still have both genitalia, if unless they've had surgery, they might be happy to still have both genitalia. So you have to understand that if you want to get into a relationship with one of these people, beautiful intersex people, you know, they might be asexual and they might not want sex at all, but if they do, then obviously that would have to be talked about, and obviously seeing each other naked as well and that type of thing. So I think, you know, you have to understand that intersex people do exist, they are valid, and so is their beautiful body in and of its own right. You know, I think everyone should respect everyone and should love people for who they are as personalities, and regardless of their genitalia. You know, so much of society is so focused on genitalia and, you know, what you can or can't do with it, and like it's the be all and end all of life, when really it isn't. You know, like obviously it serves a purpose for procreation, but you know, not everyone wants to procreate, and a lot of the time you can do that without actually having vaginal penile intercourse these days, you know. And so I think it's really important to know there are people that are genuinely intersex. They do have male and female genitalia. You might come across these people in the asexual community, you know, because they can belong to any sexual orientation and they can identify as any gender. You know, if they decide to have an operation like some of them do, they might decide they want to take on a specific role of male or female. Or like I said, they might still decide they want to be non-binary and they don't, you know, don't go with any gender whatsoever. So, you know, bear in mind there are people out there in this situation, and who knows, it might be someone that me or you knows that's just not come forward yet, you know. If anyone's watching this now, I'd be happy to like hear someone who's actually intersex and hear some of their personal stories. You know, I think it's really important to get more recognition as well for intersex people, you know, because I just wonder how many intersex people's in the asexual community, you know, and just doesn't want to say because they're scared and feeling lonely and left out and a bit lost, you know. So I'd welcome those people. They can private message me if they want as well, you know. But if you're an activist or you don't mind talking, you know, please leave your comments. I'd love to know what you personally think. I'm guessing that you too would feel it's best for you to be able to make your own decision when you're older as to whether you want to have any surgery or when you want to keep both sets of genitalia or not. I think it's a very interesting topic. I think it's a very interesting you know, thing to know about and learn. And I just want to say that everyone's valid. You know, no matter what gender you are or what sexuality you are, everyone's valid. Everyone is very, very important and special in and of their own right, you know. And yeah, I'm not intersex, but like I said, I did come across an Indian intersex activist and I thought it's important to mention it. You know, I haven't mentioned it on this channel before. Liam, I love your beautiful open-minded nature. Oh, thank you, Liam. I really appreciate that. That's really kind of you. Lots of love. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important, Liam, you know. I mean, although I'm definitely asexual, heteromantic, so I don't feel like I personally don't identify as queer myself, because I just don't use that word for me. I personally like do believe asexuality should stand on its own ground and should be recognized as an individual sexual orientation rather than mostly like tied on to LGBT. I think we need more recognition in and of itself. However, I do have gay and lesbian friends. I do have lots of different types of asexual friends, particularly romantic asexual friends, ones that are into guys, so like gay, some people call them gay asexuals. Some people don't like that term, but you know, like, so I really, really do appreciate people for who they are, you know, and I do actually think there's a lot more guys that are into guys these days. I have to say that, you know, when I talk to a lot of asexuals online, a lot of guys, or even when I go on Asexuality dating site for asexuals, I think, oh, he's good looking, but I think he's going to end up being a homo-romantic asexual. I just can kind of tell a lot of the time now, and I'm like, yeah, he's homo-romantic, so he's into guys. So I find a lot of the people that I come across that I get attracted to are actually into guys, not into women. Like, if I was born a guy, I would definitely be gay. I know that already because I'm not interested in women. But and I would be proudly gay if I was a guy, but I would be a gay asexual guy, so I would be a homo-romantic guy, and I'd have lots of options then. But even so, it seems like lots of options there aren't really, because just because they're into guys doesn't mean to say if I was a guy I would be right. I think that's the thing about asexuality, as it is with any sexuality. It's very difficult to find a compatible match if you want to have a relationship, because we are so different in our likes, wants, needs and dislikes. Some of us like touching, some of us don't, some of us love cuddling, some of us don't, some of us love kissing, some of us don't, and it's trying to find compatible hobbies and interests, because particularly when you're asexual, you're not interested in sex. That's not a thing you want to share with someone in general, right? There are asexuals that have sex, but in general it's not something you really go after in a relationship. You don't really think, I want someone who's interested in sex. You focus on other stuff. And I think because we focus on the other stuff, we're more likely to get a more kind of like targeted person to our needs, but it will take us a lot longer to get that person, because we like with sexual attraction, for example, the sexual attraction tends to bind people together. But once it's gone, right, or if it's never there in the first place, then if there's nothing you have in common with that person, the relationship is pretty much over. You know what I mean? If you don't experience sexual attraction, you haven't got anything in common with the person, there's nothing to keep you in that relationship for you to even want to be in that relationship. But why would you, if it's so different to what you actually want, as a person to be with a lot of the time? So the glue that binds a lot of sexuals together is not the glue that binds a lot of asexuals together with their partner. We look for a very deep emotional connection, but we also look for things like hobbies, interests that we share. And it's good in a way, because we are a lot more open to actually discussing all different types of things before we get into relationship. This means that if we do get into a relationship, although it's harder, we have a higher chance of it succeeding, because we've put all the groundwork in the first place. So I think, obviously whatever gender or sexuality you are, you have to be very upfront about your sexuality, very upfront about your gender. And something that's quite difficult sometimes is that people, when they're on dating sites, like asexual dating sites, they don't put a picture. And I understand they might not care what they look like. But for some people who do experience aesthetic attraction, which is still valid, not everyone has the benefit of being attracted to someone regardless of what they look like. I do experience aesthetic attraction. I do need to see what the person looks like. Some people don't like that. They're like, I just care about the person's personality. It shouldn't matter about the looks. But that person's not me. And this is what we have to do in any situation with different genders, different sexualities. We have to respect the fact that other people see relationships in different ways to what we do. They see attraction in different ways to what we do. And so therefore we have to open our mind, like Liam said, open-minded. We have to open our mind to what the other person wants, not just what we want, right? If you're a person that believes, I want someone to just like me for my personality, not like me for, not care about my looks whatsoever, then I guess you don't want to put a picture there. And you just want to discount all the people that aesthetic attraction is important for. Because I can't be in a relationship with someone who I'm not aesthetically attracted to. I wouldn't want to kiss them. I wouldn't want to be physically close to them. It repulses me, because in a romantic way, because I just can't do that with someone unless I'm attracted to them aesthetically. It just would be too weird for me, and I don't want to be physically close to someone I'm not aesthetically attracted. I can be close in proximity to friends. I can hug a friend, hello, goodbye, and but I can't be in a relationship with someone physically close, kissing them or holding their hand, for example, unless I've got aesthetic attraction for that person. Therefore, it's what I need to see, And so I think when you're dating, you should be as open and honest as possible, But even when you're coming into contact with friends, you'll meet people in your life and they just aren't meant to be your friend. They have completely different outlook to you. They have different hobbies. They have different interests. Sometimes you can make it work with these types of people, sometimes. And other times you're just too different. And there's just so many differences. You don't have anything in common. You just can't get that common ground. You can't get the relatability through past shared experiences, through present shared experiences, through goals, aspirations. You have nothing in common. And you have to let that go and realize that you're not going to be friends with everyone. Right? You're not looking to be friends with everyone in life. Some people feel that, I've got to be friends with everyone. But you don't have to be. You have to look for people who are similar to you and got similar values, morals, and beliefs and really care about you. Liam, I believe in incompatibility. I know if I was with any other orientation, I don't think I would be compatible with anyone, male or female. Yes, totally agree with you, Liam. Totally agree with you. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, for me, I have been in relationships with heterosexuals before, which obviously is, I mean, I need to be in a relationship with a guy if I'm in a relationship with anyone, not a female. I could never be in a relationship with a female. Obviously, I've got a female friend, but most of my friends are guys, and I just couldn't be in a relationship with a female. I'm not attracted to females whatsoever. I don't want to be close to them. I don't want to kiss them. The whole idea makes me just like, no. So I got a best female friend that I'm close to, but not in that way. But yeah, I'm just not attracted to females at all. So it'd always be a guy. But like being with a guy, I've asked myself over and over again, is it possible you could be with a heterosexual guy, Sandra? And I'd find it very difficult to trust them, to be honest. Very, very difficult to trust them. And I'd much prefer to be with a guy who's asexual. I really feel I need an asexual guy. I don't know if we'll be on the more grey end of the asexual spectrum, though. That is possible. But usually a lot of the guys on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum, they get a bit too sexual for me. So I find it really difficult to find a compatible match, very difficult. I think I'll be waiting a long time. I've kind of resigned myself to the fact it'll probably be another 10 years. But it's okay. We're social distancing probably for quite some time anyway. So I can go out and date and kiss a guy. I could date online though. Still, I might meet someone online. You never know. But yeah. But I do completely understand you, Liam, and I agree that it's very difficult for. I mean, obviously, you personally, I agree with that, and it's very difficult for me to be with sexual. Like, I've thought about it in terms of kissing. I like that side because a lot of guys who are heterosexual, they love kissing like I do. They absolutely love it. A lot of them, not all of them. Remember, there was an Indian guy who didn't like kissing, who owned an Indian restaurant in the club I went to. There's 3 Indian guys I've danced with. One of them wasn't into kissing. The other 2 were. The last one only got to kiss me on the cheek. The middle one was the one that kissed me over an hour, I think it was, or more, on the dance floor. So yeah, I would find it very, very difficult personally to be with someone who was heterosexual again. If I was with, I don't know if I could be with a biromantic guy. If the biromantic guy was much more leaning towards women, then possibly. I mean, I don't really care if guys fancy other guys. It don't bother me. If they fancy other women, it bothers me. But if they fancy guys, it doesn't bother me. But I don't want to be with somebody gay. I want someone who's actually attracted to a female. Do you know what I mean? Like, really loves kissing a female a lot, So yeah, I think you have to understand that asexuals, I think, find it more difficult to get someone for a relationship because we are 1% of the population, but because we don't focus on that sexual attraction aspect, we focus on practicalities of relationship building and relationship foundation and compatibility. And I actually think that's a very, very good thing. Even though it's a lot harder to find someone, I think it's a very, very good thing. you know. And I have asked myself, you know, could I be in a relationship with a sexual for a long time? You know, I've thought, well, maybe your Indian guy Sandra isn't asexual. He could possibly be heterosexual, but I think I'd have a lot of problems with that. You know, I'd be constantly worried that he'd just go and have sex with other women all the time, and especially because I attract the highly sexual guys. I don't really attract the guys that have got low sexual desire. Don't really attract them. You know, if I attract anyone who's asexual, they're usually on the much more sexual end of the asexual spectrum. So I think it's very important to just know about these other sexualities, and to know about an intersex person, because you might come across it in your dating experience. If you're on asexual dating sites, you might find someone who's intersex on there. So just bear that in mind, that, you know, I think if you're non-binary and want another non-binary person, an intersex person will be very ideal in that sense, you know. But again, like some intersex people, they do decide to have, you know, to just have male genitalia or female, and then they have surgery to remove the other bit, and others just like to keep both. So I think it's really important that when you're dating, if you are intersex, you do obviously let people know that you are intersex, and you explain fully what that is. Liam, oh, you retracted a message. I was looking forward to reading that message. But yeah, so I think, you know, take your time to get to know anyone in the asexual community or otherwise, you know. I was speaking to someone the other day, and I said, you know, I'm a lot more open-minded and better person since I discovered I'm asexual. Like, my mind is so much more open than it ever used to be in my life, you know. And if I hadn't have discovered asexuality, I would never be this way. And so I'm really grateful that I've got a much more open mind than I used to have. And that I feel better for that. I feel better for being able to understand people on different levels, different sexualities, different genders, different ways of thinking, different ways of being. I think that contributes to the variety of life, you know. I think it's very important to try to understand other people's point of view. Like, you know, I'm obviously very, very hyper romantic, which for people who are aromantic, some of them just be like, ugh, she's so romantic, that's gross. You know, I do understand that, you know. And then obviously for someone who doesn't experience any romance, I'll be like, oh, you know, like, I can't imagine a life without romance in it, you know what I mean? So it works both ways, you know. People are all different, and I think we have to embrace our individuality, you know. I did actually do a whole series on Aromantic Awareness Week, even though I'm not aromantic myself, because I think it's important that the majority of the asexual population are aromantics, you know, those that lack romantic attraction, as well as lacking sexual attraction, you know. And it's very important that I understand aromantics, even though I'm not aromantic myself, because I've got quite a lot of online friends who are. And, you know, a lot of them, they don't see the need for romance. And so, you know, we're all like, although we're all part of the asexual community, it's like speaking a bit of different languages to each other sometimes. And it's very interesting to kind of find out how we all interconnect, you know. Like, if, you know, like if we're non-binary person, or if we're an intersex person, or if we're a biromantic person or panromantic person. I think it's very, very interesting. You know, I used to think biromantic meant attracted to male and female, but it actually means attracted to two genders. So it doesn't necessarily mean to say that the genders they're attracted to is male and female. It could be male and non-binary, for example, or female and non-binary, or gender fluid, or some other gender. So I found that very, very interesting. You know, I know quite a bit about asexuality, but there's still so many things that I'm learning, some new terms. And, you know, I think it's very important as a whole society we start learning more about different genders, different sexualities, so that we can all get along better. You know, it's very important to have understanding, especially at a time when a lot of chaos is going on in the world. There's kind of like divide. You know, people are very divided at the moment as to what's going on in the world. There's a lot of people kind of like on this side and that side. Liam, I thought most asexuals had some bit of romantic attraction. No, Liam. The majority of asexuals are aromantic. They lack romantic attraction, or they're on the aromantic spectrum, which, you know, so some, you know, but there's more aromantics than romantics, and are more women than guys usually, and there tends to be more people in their 20s that generally appear in forums and stuff, and groups. So yeah, I mean, on my channel, I think I attract more romantic asexuals in general. Because I remember when I did Aromantic Awareness Week, I ended up with mostly romantic people talking about romance in the chat, which was quite funny. But yeah, there is a grey romantic, which is part of the aromantic spectrum. So those are people that can feel a bit of romance, but it's very minimal. So it'd be like, you know, grey romantic is someone who does experience romance, but only limited, rare, specific circumstances, but not enough to want to act on it. So that'd be very minimal. But I know a number of aromantics, they don't have any, you know, they're pure aromantics, if you know what I mean. They're not grey, and they just have no romance whatsoever. I mean, it'd be very something I didn't know. I am also aromantic. Yeah, you said you were aromantic, Liam. Yeah, I remember you said you were aromantic. So yeah, a large proportion are aromantics, more than any type of other asexual. That a lot of them are aromantics, because there's a lot of problems in the aromantic community in general, because aromantics are all seen as asexuals a lot of the time, and they're not, they're separate. So you can get aromantic asexuals and you can get aromantic sexuals. The main difference I've seen is that aromantic asexuals, they tend to be, a lot of the time, they tend to really, really like to have deep, committed friendships. And they like to be very, very close to their friends. And it's almost like a romantic person would be in a romantic relationship. They're like that in a friendship a lot of the time. And they you know, they can be very, very kind of like needing to see their friends like multiple times a week. And then with aromantic sexuals, in my experience, going through the years of doing this channel, I would say they, you know, they're less reliant on friends, and obviously they do experience sexual attraction. They experience no romantic attraction. So they tend to be less reliant on their friends, and they tend to be more, you know, that they need sex. Basically, the aromantic sexuals, they need sex. They still experience sexual attraction. They just don't want a romantic relationship. So a lot of them, they only want sex and friends. They don't want a relationship because they don't feel romance. And most people who they come across want a romantic relationship with sexual relationship, and that's something most aromantic sexuals tend to not need or want, in my experience. However, I do know someone who's an aromantic sexual person who follows my Asexualise Facebook page, and she is married to a heterosexual guy, and she, despite being aromantic, still like really loves kissing and cuddling. And she said, you know, her husband was shocked that I don't experience any romantic attraction, but I love to kiss and cuddle, and she loves to do all those things. And so this is why I love hearing about different people. I love it. The no two people are the same. You know, you can get an aromantic sexual person that's not into any sort of like relationship whatsoever. I think the guy I dated in 2017, I think he was an aromantic sexual and didn't know it, because he wasn't interested in romance at all. You know, it was like being with a mate when I was out with him, you know, and he was experienced in sex, but he was never in a relationship. And so, not in sex with me. He didn't have sex with me. Didn't even see me naked. But you know, it was very interesting. The only thing he did romantic, which wasn't romantic, it was just a nice gesture, was when I was feeling cold around the theme parks. Like, he offered his coat to me. That was it. The rest of the time, he didn't really want to hold my hand when I did, and he found that a bit needy, I think. And it's not being needy, it's me being romantic. But obviously, someone who doesn't like romance if you've got someone who doesn't like romance and someone who loves romance, they don't usually go together unless a aromantic person's a cupioromantic. So cupioromantic is an aromantic person who doesn't experience romantic attraction but desires a strong romantic relationship. They strongly desire a romantic relationship. Does that make sense? So cupioromantic is someone on the aromantic spectrum, doesn't experience any romantic attraction but still wants a romantic relationship. And they can really desire that strongly, and that they get very frustrated that they can't feel romance. So, but he wasn't that type of person. I mean, literally, it's like going around the theme park with a mate. But I would have had more fun on my own than being with him. I mean, he wasn't the right person. He was a psycho with a blade. Remember, I told you about him. So he wasn't a good guy anyway. And, I asked him because I thought he might be autistic because he said he had a test for that and I found out he wasn't, but he clearly was a bit different, in not a good way. I have autistic friends, by the way. I actually get on really well with autistic guys. I actually get attracted to autistic guys, because I love the fact that a lot of the autistic guys that I have as friends, even, they're very creative, like to do a lot of projects, and I was doing something busy, and I love that because I'm that type of person. Even though I haven't got autism myself, I'm naturally that type of person. I like to be doing stuff all the time, and so I love it when they're working on their projects and I'm working on my projects, and we're going, oh, this is how far I've got, and they're like, this is how far I've got, and I'm going on to this next thing. You kind of get the momentum going off each other. So I think that's a really good thing. But yeah, so a lot of the asexual community are aromantics, and the aromantics that I come across a lot of the time, for me, would be if I'm attracted to an aromantic, it's no good for me because obviously they're never going to want a relationship with me unless they were a cupioromantic or a demioromantic. A demioromantic is someone on the aromantic spectrum who only feels romantic attraction when a deep emotional bond's been formed. But this is not necessarily going to happen with everyone they're friends with. For me, I really need to be with someone who's romantic as well, who loves romance, because it's no good being with someone whose romance repulsed, because that would be bad for them and bad for me. Do you see what I mean? So whatever you're doing in terms of friendships or relationships, it's important you have understanding between the person's needs, wants, likes, dislikes, and how you fit in together. So me and my best friend Sam, we usually message each other every day as best friends, and I love that about them. I absolutely love it. They're really busy like I am, but they always make time for me and I always make time for them. And I have the most wonderful friendship ever. They're the person who keeps in touch with me the most out of all my friends. And then I have a female friend who's not asexual. She contacts me not that often. Like, maybe she's still a best friend, but it's like maybe twice a month or something. So, but she was actually coming my way at the end of last month, but I was actually seeing Sam at the same time. So Liam, I have nothing wrong with romance. I don't hate it. I'm just not into it. I was diagnosed with autism 3 years ago. Oh, bless you, Liam. And I said I'm attracted to autistic guys. Should I have actually said that? If you're autistic, you're a guy, aren't you? So as far as I know, you're a guy. I think I asked you that a long time ago. Are you actually a guy? I don't know if you answered me, or are you non-binary or trans, or I think I asked you that a long time ago, but I don't think you answered. I know you said you're 32, didn't you? Aromantic 30. Did you say 31 or 32? I don't think you answered what gender you are. Just because you got a name called Liam doesn't mean to say you're a guy, does it? So my best friend's non-binary. But yeah, so you know, nothing wrong with romance. You don't hate it, just not into it. Oh, bless. Yeah. So I think that's really important as well, because everyone on the asexual spectrum is so different. Like, I'm a heteromantic asexual, right? But I'm a hyperromantic at the same time. A lot of heteromantic people, not heterosexual, but a lot of heteromantic people aren't the same as me. They're not into kissing like I am. I'm one of the few people that's heteromantic that's so into kissing, it's unbelievable. Like, I don't really fit into a neat little asexual box exactly. Just don't. But I've learned to embrace that as part of my beauty of being different and being able to relate to lots of different asexuals on the different parts of the spectrum as well. Obviously, I'm only attracted to guys though, so I don't have the knowing about what it's like to be attracted to other genders because I'm just attracted to guys. I'm very, very, very hetero. You know, I get gay guys who fancy me. Well, they think I'm attractive. So, you know, I'm like, okay, thanks. And I have had lesbians ask me out before, but it's like, no, I'm not attracted to women. So, but you know, it doesn't mean to say I don't respect them as people. You know, I got asked out by a customer lesbian in my work once. And I know I really felt for her as well because I could tell she just wanted a good woman to hang around with, if you know what I mean. And she thought I was a good person. And that's why she was asking me to dinner. And so I thought it was really sweet in the sense that it's nice that she thought I was a nice person. And I know that she felt cared for in the most professional, non-professional way, probably. Like when I'm talking to customers, I'm quite friendly, you know. Not friendly, not touchy friendly, but friendly as in like kind of like you know, like probably a bit more formal than I talk to you on here. But you know, it's just like it was difficult, you know, for her. She actually said that, you know, she used to be attracted to guys, but she turned lesbian when she did have bad experiences with guys, and she's just not attracted to guys anymore. And you know, she was a really caring person. She was an older woman, but you know, I just thought it was nice. Liam, you're a genuine sweetheart. Oh, thank you, Liam. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah. And it's, you know, so you know, I felt like it was nice. She thought I was a nice person, and she was asking, you know, I said to her about this. There are groups online, you know, for lesbian dating as well, which I told her about. Like I googled it for her from my phone whilst I was in work because I used to use my phone on the floor for my concession. So you know, there are groups, dating groups for different people. So it's important to remember that, you know, and there's bound to be groups for intersex people, like on Facebook and stuff like that. Usually there's groups of people for everyone, you know, like I don't know, you know, if there was a gorgeous Indian guy who was intersex but wanted to be a guy, I'm not interested in genitalia anyway, so I don't need to see that anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't even need to see any genitalia from anyone. You know what I mean? But I am into guys. But I mean, you know, if they would like being a guy, then you know, and they were gorgeous Indian guy, then I'd be like open-minded about that. You know, I just think, you know, everyone's beautiful in and of their own right. I think it's really, really important that we embrace our difference as our own beauty. So wherever you fall in the actual asexual spectrum, I think it's really you know, very, very important that you realize that your difference is your beauty. Like I've realized that me being so different and not fitting into an exact asexual box is very good for helping lots of different types of asexuals, because if I fitted so rigidly into an asexual box, I wouldn't probably be as open-minded as I am. I'm glad I am open-minded. It's a good trait to have. But you know, it's because I think that I've realized, like I remember when I was thinking years ago, back in 2014, when I first began my asexual journey, I was thinking, you know, like I wasn't even reflecting on myself. I was just kind of thinking like, oh, you know, all asexuals, you know, they don't experience any sexual attraction. They're not interested in sex. Didn't think they would get aroused or anything like that. And then as I grew in my asexuality, as I become aware of myself, which I think asexuality is a journey of discovery. I always say this to people who are new, particularly to asexuality. Asexuality is a journey of discovery of one's self, of one's inner core being, as well as one's sexuality and everything that encompasses in that. And I think once you start to like actually open up to yourself, reflect on yourself, and you kind of stop judging yourself so much, then you're less judgmental of other people. The more you accept yourself, the more, you know, you accept other people. And, you know, I'm so much more less judgy now than I used to be. I'm not saying that I'm not judgy. I think everyone judges, whether they like it or not, because we have to judge in order to stay safe to a certain extent. You know, it's not, judgment is frowned upon as a really bad thing all the time, but actually it's a built-in safety mechanism. You need to judge when you're crossing the road. You need to judge when you're seeing people who are coming near you, whether they're going to be good or bad for you, you know, especially if they've got a knife in their hand, right? You know, but even so, you've got to judge whether they're going to turn out to be angry, smack the heck out of you, or what. You know, you judging in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It's how you use it that can be a bad thing. But we all judge. It's just something human beings do, right? And to be honest, the people that stand out most on social media, that are thought leaders, that stand out on channels, are the ones that do have opinions. And in order to have an opinion, you've had to have had a judgment happen somehow. To have an opinion, you've had to judge a situation. But once we try and free ourselves of judging our own selves in a critical way, and we open ourselves up to being less judgmental with ourselves, and we realize how diverse our own sexuality is in our own soul and being, the more we can be open and less judgmental in a critical way of other people. Liam, you being so open-minded makes me fall in love with you, but you would have no interest in me since I'm aromantic. Oh, bless you, Liam. That's the first time you've ever said that. I'm blushing now. Wow, I think I should read that out again because it's a very special moment. You being so open-minded makes me fall in love with you, but you would have no interest in me since I'm aromantic. That's so sweet. That's a very sweet moment. Oh, I just love those words. You know, because I'm romantic. Of course I'm going to love those words. You've just literally put that beautiful arrow to my heart, not through my heart, because I don't think that sounds great, but to my heart, and made it go bing! Because, you know, I'm so romantic that is like a beautiful romantic thing to say. I actually think you're quite romantic, Liam, despite the fact that you are aromantic. Oh, I don't think that you would be into kissing like I am, and public displays of affection and all that type of thing. But I thank you for your feeling. It's really, really nice. My urge for romance 24/7, 365 days a year probably wouldn't work if you're aromantic and you're not into romance like me. I'm so romantic, for example, like if I was in a relationship, I like holding hands around the supermarket, so we hold the basket together. I think that's really, really cute. I like kissing, like whenever and wherever, you know, like in public. Public displays of affection are 100% deal breaker for me. I cannot be in a relationship with someone who doesn't display public displays of affection. Like I like kissing when if I go to a zoo, I like kissing when I'm going around looking at the animals, kissing when I go around an aquarium. This isn't a romantic relationship, not with my friends. Because I go to these places with my friends, but we don't do kissing, obviously. Well, I say obviously because some people probably do kiss their friends, but I don't. Strictly boundary driven like that, okay? So, you know, like I like kissing on the train, like if I'm going with someone. Obviously with the mask situation at the moment, you can't really do that as such, although some people do sneak their masks off and snog anyway, but we will leave that one. But yes, and no, I wasn't talking about me because I don't have a boyfriend. I haven't been snogging, right? So there was 2 people on the train doing that when I was coming back from London, but you know, they needed a good snog, I'm guessing. Well, I didn't really see them fully snog, but they were sat on each other's laps with a mask off, looking like they were kissing a bit or going to kiss. So yes, anyway, getting back to what I was saying, yeah. So I'm so romantic that literally, you know, I like filling my life at romance. Like if I watch a movie, I find that very romantic. Like like going to the cinema on a self date, usually that's really romantic. Going out for a meal, even by myself on a self date, that's very romantic. And like it's if I'm with someone I'm attracted to, like aesthetically and romantically, I'm feeling romantic, right? And I just love holding hands, kissing and cuddling whenever and wherever. So I like to do things with the person, but it's with a view to kissing and cuddling in between all of those things. Do you know what I mean? Which someone needs to be very comfortable and love romance and kissing as much as I do, and public displays of affection. Because if you got someone who's not into it, that's not going to work. Do you know what I mean? Because it's going to be like, they're going to be like, oh my God, more romance. I'm romanced out. Like, you know what I mean? And they're not going to actually want to do it naturally. I don't want someone to force that. I want someone to be like, kiss, 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 hug, cuddle, hold hands, kiss, huddle, go. I said huddle, as in hug and cuddle. I keep making up words on this show. Have you they're split words? Did you know that? I think I'm going to have my own dictionary that I'm going to bring out of mixed words. Sandra's going to invent a new dictionary of words. I think that'd be quite interesting, don't you? The asexual dictionary of words spliced together, courtesy of Asexualise, My Asexual Life. And then one day I'll have to come and read a whole sentence out, whole sentences full of my spliced words together, and see if you can make sense of it. But did you know in October the 15th, 2020, that's this year, it'll be my 5-year anniversary on this channel. 5 years, people. It's Asexual Awareness Week in 2015 was when I officially launched this channel. There was one video before that, but yes, 5 years. But it didn't turn into a chat show like this till July 2018. So over 2 years I've been doing this now. So yeah, but 5 years of this channel, I think that's a very, very big moment. Very, very big moment indeed, hugely big moment. So I think it's really, really important, really important. So anyway, I'm getting all romantic now. But yeah, I think I definitely need someone who's really romantic like me, because like I spoke to a guy in ASAP, right? He's part Indian. Hello, if you're watching. I'll give you a kiss as a friend, just as a friend, because he's not interested in me romantically, right? We're just friends. And it actually feels quite weird to even do that, because I don't usually do that type of thing to him. But he's like a really nice person to talk to. And I don't know where I'm going with it anymore. Oh yes, that's what I'm saying. But he's not into romance like I am. Like my ideal relationship of like kissing a lot of the time is not his ideal relationship at all. Which is good that I know that. We're very clear that we're not suitable for each other in relationship terms. It's very, very good. That doesn't mean to say we can't hang out together in the future or whatever, but it would be cool. But me and them are very different in some ways, So I just think, he was saying that he wants to have someone to hang out and do activities with rather than the kissing. But I tried to explain that I do want someone I can do activities with, but I'm like kissing, cuddling, doing those activities. That's what I was trying to say. I think I actually explained myself well in the end, but not in the beginning. I think it came across as though I just want to kiss 24/7, 365 days a year, which is kind of a little bit right. But with like activities thrown in. But no, like seriously, I'm that busy. I could only probably see a guy twice a week, actually in person, for snogging, obviously. For quality time, because I need to do my project. I need to do this channel. I need to do blogging. I need to do websites. I'm redesigning. I've been redesigning sandrabellamy.com site in the last 12 hours or 24 hours. Yeah. Anyway, I've been designing sandrabellamy.com, redesign that and updating it with all like the asexual stuff where I'm at. And so that's taken me quite a bit of time today. I can't be with a guy all the time when I've got all this stuff to do. And the work I do is very important for asexuals, It's very, very important. It's high up my list, I love being romantic. And from a romantic point of view, yeah, it'd be great if I could see them 7 days a week and snog them 7 days a week. But from an actual like I have to fulfill my life purposes. I get stressed if I don't. I'm not going to be in a fit state to see you if I'm not feeling very happy because I'm stressed because I can't do my work. That's not a healthy relationship for me or them. You know, they need to be able to see their friends, do their own projects. I need to be able to do my projects as well. Oh, hi, my life. Nice to see you. So it's very important that, you know, in a relationship that I would have time and space to actually do my own thing like they would. I think that's very important. I didn't used to be like that years ago, but I am now. I get quite frustrated and stressed if I don't get my work done. It's just something, you know, I'm a little bit behind with work at the moment. So yeah, I've got to catch up. I'm playing catch up with myself. So there was a whole schedule of stuff I had to do, but I still, you know, like I still haven't finished Friday's work. Now it's gone into Sunday. So yeah, a little bit behind, but these things do happen. And so, you know, I think it's important that before you get into a relationship with someone, if you're looking to get into a relationship with anyone, that you do discuss how much time you want to spend with each other, because there might be, like, you know, there might be someone you come across and they like want to spend all their time with you, and in theory that's nice, but in the sense of romance, but in terms of practicality and actually living your whole life purpose and having a healthy relationship, it's not good, because you need to be able to like live your own life as well. I mean, I don't want to live with the guy. I love living on my own. Again, most romantic guys, they're asexual, they want to live with someone. I don't want to live with someone. I like to live on my own. I work usually throughout the night. I don't go to sleep till 4 most of the time, 4 a.m, and get up at midday. So I need some guy who's going to fit in with that lifestyle and who probably will, you know, hopefully live around the corner from me, but not with me. My life. I went to a job interview. This is great news, my life. It went well. I then cashed a check. I thought you said crashed a check. I've been on here nearly an hour. I'll forgive myself. I then cashed a check and bought food all on my own without mum around. Woohoo! This is really good, my life. Well done. If you didn't know, my life has a condition which means that they can't usually do stuff on their own. So proud of you. I got rid of my old mattress and put the new one on without help. I bought some stuff from yard sales and I reorganized my room. I am so proud of you, my life. This is really, really good. This is very good. This is very good. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, big hugs, virtual hugs for you. I'm so proud of you. It's very, very important, you know, that we get out of our comfort zone and push ourselves to do things. Liam, you're the same as myself. I love living by myself. Oh, bless you, Liam. Yay. Yeah, it's really good, my life. It's really good. I'm so proud of you, because it's really difficult. Like I manage it really well, but I have an anxiety condition. And so it takes a lot of managing, but I manage it really well. I'm a lot less anxious than I was. And the reason is because I try and push myself to do anxious things, which you might think is crazy, and it is crazy when you're doing it, but you have to do it, because otherwise you don't get confident and don't do anything. You have to push yourself to do scary things all the time, push yourself out of your comfort zone all the time. I have to make myself do some stuff I don't want to do in order to like be less anxious. So yeah, gotta face your fears. Exactly. You have to face your fears, because if you don't face your fears, they'll eat you up alive, to be quite frank with you. So you have to face them head on and stare them in the eye and say, I will not let you win, and make yourself do stuff. I did something on my I wrote something on my sandrabellamy.com site tonight. I'm like, oh, that's a bit too much putting that out there. But I've said it on my channel before, but it's because I'm writing it down. It's like I feel a bit shy about it. But I'm like, you've got to put it out there. Test yourself. You're gonna, I mean, like, I'm thinking, crying out loud, Sandra, writing the Asexual Guide to Sex book. If you can't even put something like that on your sandrabellamy.com site, like, you're gonna, you know, like, I'm like, yes, but it's in a book. It's completely different in a book. To actually write it on a website, I'm like, but it's not. Tomorrow I might cook my own food. I think that's really good, my life. And it's very good because you should be doing all that stuff for yourself before you move in with your boyfriend, because the more stuff you can do for yourself is good, because you mean more independent for him as well. It's a very good, you need to have like ideally a bridge between you moving out of your mum's home, or if someone else is watching this, their parents, and actually going to live with someone else. It's very important you have like a transition time. Transition, that's why I use the word transition. And that you get to be independent on your own first. It's more healthy going forward, because obviously, you know, sometimes your boyfriend's going to be working late at night, something's going to happen where he's not going to be able to be there to be with you doing cooking and cleaning or shopping. He's not going to be able to be with you 24/7. You just can't be in life. So it's much better and healthier for you if you get used to doing these things on your own and you make it happen for yourself, which is what you should always do with change. You make change happen for you, otherwise it will happen to you. I've said it on this channel a while ago, you know, you either make change happen for you or it happens to you. But if you take control of your life and make change happen all the time, then you get to be more in control of change. Do you see what I mean? You get more comfortable with change. Like, if something comes along, I'm used to changing things myself anyway, so I'm just used to change by now. You know what I mean? That's why the people who change more are more equipped for this type of world crisis. The ones that push themselves to change all the time, because we're used to it. We're used to adapting and developing and adopting. Doesn't mean to say we're not going to still struggle, but we're used to being able to adapt more because we're used to working with the unknown and living through fear more. My life, the coolest thing is during the interview, I realised I had a vision last year of it. Oh, wow, my life. That's incredible. It's very, very good. If I remember correctly, the job will go well. Oh, that's really good, my life. Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Congratulations. Thanks for keeping us posted. I like to know how my asexual friends are going on. It's very important. So, and it's nice that Liam likes to live on their own as well. I find that a lot of aromantic asexuals like living on their own, but romantic asexuals don't. We're all family. It's true, my life. We're all family. The ace team. The ace team. It's very important. But I do find, Liam, that, like you said about living on your own, I do find that a lot of the asexuals that don't experience any romantic attraction, they want to live on their own. They don't want to live with someone, which is quite rare for a romantic person like myself, especially a hyper romantic, to not want to live with someone. But I would like to live. I would like the guy to live near me, around the corner, because I think it's important to be there for each other physically if we need each other. You know, if the other person is sick and stuff like that, you know, and they can't do shopping for themselves. Like, I don't want to do shopping for a guy in general, but if he's really poorly and can't get out of his own home to do it, and, you know, I'd rather, you know, I'd go and do it in my shopping trolley for him than, you know, I don't drive, than, you know, him like being somewhere up country and having no one there. Obviously, if he's got friends up country, don't really matter, but I still like him near me so we can like go out together and stuff. You know, there might be times that we do want to do spontaneous stuff together. Very independent and strong woman, yes. Yeah, I am very independent and strong. My life, yeah. I'm so used to living on my own. Like, oh, it's my anniversary of living on my own this month, on the 27th of September 2020. I lived on my own for 2 younger years to say. It's like 16 years. I'm too young for this, really. It's like I'm just going backwards and getting younger. It's great. Yes, thank you for the congratulations. 16 years living on my own. That's a long time. That like feels older than me. It really does. Really? I forget what birth certificate age I am a lot of the time. I have trouble remembering. I'm like, what birth certificate age am I? Oh yeah, that. It's so funny. But yes, 27th of September 2020. I've been here 16 years in this beautiful flat. I love this flat. It's so awesome. It's just like suited to me as a single person so much. Like everything about it. I like living in my bedroom actually, because I don't like cleaning. So I think if I lived on my own and had my own house, how many rooms I'd have. I'm thinking I'd have a jacuzzi room, and I'd have a dance room, and I'd have a cinema room. But then I'm thinking, well, the cleaning. Like, Would I really need all those rooms? And I don't want to clean them anyway. I'd have to have like pay someone to come and clean them or something, because it's like I hate cleaning. I can't stand cleaning. So really, I'm better off staying in my flat here a lot of the time. And if I want to use a jacuzzi, I could pay to use the jacuzzi down the road from me. Because I live near a gym with a jacuzzi, but you have to pay to use the whole gym just to go in the jacuzzi. Anything with that is you've got other people looking at you. I might meet my nice Indian guy in the jacuzzi though. Who knows? That might be a good incentive to go. My life. I plan to get a Roomba when I get a place. What's a Roomba? A Roomba or a Noomba? Roomba? Is that R? I can't. Is that ROOMBA? Roomba? What's a Roomba? Have I missed something or have I read it wrong? It sounds like a dance. Roomba, 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 Roomba. Oh yeah, Roomba, 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 Roomba. It's like some of the dancing that I listen to, the music, Italian type of dancing. It's a mini vacuum. I prefer the dancing. It's a mini vacuum thing that cleans for you. Oh, bless you. Oh, I've seen some mini robots, but they don't actually clean in the corners of things, because my mum was looking at them years ago. They're like round things and they don't actually go in the corners. I'm like, oh my lord. Yeah, it sounds cool though. But yeah, I've always thought I'll have it. I have got they're square ones. They'd have to reach a hand though in, wouldn't they? Like a little hand and go like this and stuff, because even if they're square, they're going to bash into furniture and stuff, aren't they? I need to have like little hands. I do have a fascination with robots, by the way. I know I've gone completely off the topic of intersex, which is people who have both male and female genitalia, usually, just in case you've tuned in. They can see the room. Oh, yeah, I do have a fascination with robots. I've always had a fascination with robots. I thought I might be like the first person to have a robotic boyfriend or something. An asexual one would be great. Indian asexual robotic boyfriend. But I want a real guy, not a robot. I think robots are great, but but I wouldn't completely rule out having a robotic boyfriend. But I think he'd malfunction. He'd probably get sexual attraction even though he's a robot, and he'd probably go off with someone else. That's how much I don't really trust people who have sexual attraction to be faithful, in my personal experience. Doesn't mean to say they can't be, just in my personal experience, with me particularly. It's like, oh dear me. Yes, I was talking about robots. You're a cake. I'm a cake. You're a cake. You're a cake or you're eating cake? How are you a cake, my life? Have you written my life on a cake? I want to see this. Or if you got a robotic cake somewhere, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? But it'd probably break the teeth. If you saw my film review film review. Who saw my film review of Despicable Me? That Gru got the girls to take robotic cookies in to get Vector's shrink gun. Oh, my life. I'm a cake. I'm sweet and my personality is better than sex. I love that. Normally asexuals say they prefer eating cake to having sex. That's what the joke about asexuality is. So I wasn't quite sure what you meant, because it sounded like you want people to eat you. I'm sweet and my personality is better than sex. It so is true. Yes. I'm really not into sex. I mean, I'm not intersex because this video is called What is Intersex? And an intersex person is someone who has born with both male and female genitalia, usually. Just get that straight. But I am not into sex either. My life. I can also say I'm a breadstick. What's a breadstick? Dare I ask what a breadstick is? We got completely off the topic of or is intersex. But intersex actually is what the I stands for in LGBT plus QIA. It's the I before the A, or LGBTQIA, then the plus is after the A, depends on which you view it as. Are you going to tell me what a breadstick is, and the whole people that are watching now what a breadstick is, my life? Because breadstick is usually crumbly, I'm guessing, because I can't eat bread. I've got allergies. That's what I mean when they do meetups sometimes, or they do online stuff, and they're like, "Oh, bring a cake with you." I'm like, I can't bring a cake because I can't eat cake. I just have to bring a non-cakey, natural thing to eat because I can't eat cake. So I'm left out of that joke somewhat, even though I get cake is better than sex. My life is just because the breadsticks are better than sexing. I didn't actually figure out why I'd say that. Oh, I better not try and make something up because it probably won't come out very asexual if I do. Been around sexuals too long in the past, and they would probably make a very sexual joke out of a breadstick, to be perfectly frank with you. So I better not go there, as this is my asexual channel. I only say that because other aces will be like, "Hey, yeah, yeah, breadstick could be another word for penis, as in dick. Breadstick, dick. Do you know what I mean?" So I would have to be a bit careful with that one. If a guy goes, "Don't play with my breadstick," it just means don't play with his dick. You know. That's why. Oh, bless you. You know these things too. Yes, for our viewers, not all viewers know these things, but yeah, that's why I don't. I mean, some asexual can make sex jokes. Just because we don't like having sex doesn't mean to say we can't make sex jokes. But yeah, some asexuals hate sex jokes. Other asexuals make sex jokes. But yeah, I'm not. I really don't think I could be with a heterosexual person again in a relationship because I'm really not into sex. I'm not into sex. I keep saying that, but it sounds like I'm talking about what's the title. The title of this video, in case you've just joined us and you're wondering what intersex means. Intersex is part of the LGBT community. It's LGBT plus community, I should say. The I stands for intersex. An intersex person is someone who's usually born with both male and female genitalia at birth. And it can be very difficult growing up because sometimes parents can decide to have surgery on the baby and choose its gender for it, which can have a knock-on effect with that kid's mental health growing up and the way they feel about their body and the way they feel about what gender they actually want to be. So it's a very actual serious topic, even though we've gone off topic. But I just wanted to say that because there's still a lack of awareness about what intersex is. And I think it's very important to recognise intersex people as beautiful people, just like we are. Beauty is your difference, people. Do you know what I mean? It's important if you're different, you understand that your difference is your beauty, and love is to do with the heart and the soul, not just the physical body. Do you know what I mean? The body's a vessel. It's the thoughts, the feelings, emotions, and their soul, which is the most important thing. This doesn't mean to say that some of us don't experience aesthetic attraction, because like I said, we do. Personally, I'm not interested in genitalia, so I don't, I'm only interested in guys, but I'm not interested in genitalia. My life. So we've gone back off into sex a moment, and we're listening to my life's comment. I'm a breadstick. I may taste good, but when it comes to someone asking for sex, I can be a bit of a dick when I give my responses no. That's very clever, my life. Dear intersex people, you are valid, you are amazing, and you are you. Don't let hate drag you down. Send you all the love and support. Yes, that's what I was saying, but you put it so elegantly. It's very, very important that, we do send love out to these people as well, I've seen some beautiful Indian guys who are intersex, actually. And obviously some intersex people, they don't have a binary, you know. They choose later on whether they're male or female. Some have known, non-binary. They're non-binary. So it's very, very important. Pigeon is someone on YouTube, and they were someone who's an intersex activist. So I think it's very important to recognise different sexualities and different genders, and different orientation people, to know that the world is beautifully diverse, really. I mean, I wished more and more people in the world would celebrate our diversity, all the diversity. The sooner people wake up to the fact we're all diverse and beautiful in of our own right, it's so important, I think it would, instead of being dividing, we should be standing strong in our own right and celebrating each other's differences with love, respect, care, and for, triumphing in life. Just being alive right now is amazing, surviving, thriving, flourishing in all the chaos. It's just an incredible gift that we've still got, and I think we should be all proud of ourselves, whatever sexuality or gender we are. I think we should be so proud of ourselves right now. There's a lot of adversity going on in the world, and if we can remain strong and, do positive things, like obviously my life is doing a lot of positive things, they're breaking through their barriers and reaching out and doing things on their own, which is very, very big step for them, I know. Because I know quite a while ago they were saying they could never do that. So I'm really proud of you, proud of every person who comes on this channel, proud of everyone who pushes through their boundaries, pushes through their fears, and, and reaches out with love. I have to say that Liam's always giving love on this channel and to other people's asexual YouTube channels. They're a very big supporter. So thank you, Liam. I really appreciate your support. I'm sure all the other asexual YouTubers love it as well. You're always there cheering us on. It's really appreciative. I really appreciate you. My life. I hate when parents have doctors change the physical appearance of their intersex baby instead of letting them decide what to do later on for those that are born with physical intersex traits. Yes, my life. That's what I was discussing earlier. So I'm glad that we're talking about that now, because I said I think it's very difficult for an intersex person who's born with both male and female genitalia, when the person decides, their parents usually, or guardian if they haven't got parents, if their parents choose whether they want it to be a boy or a girl, because that has a knock-on effect with their mental health for the rest of their life usually, and obviously their physical health, but their mental health, because if their parents decide that they want a boy, but the intersex person later on feels like they're more a girl and they don't like the body they've got, because then they don't like being a guy and they resent the parents for like choosing the guy part of them rather than being a girl, or vice versa, then I think that's very damaging. I think it's very damaging. I've seen real life stories about that, and it's just dreadful. Like being cut up from a baby just so that the parents can have like a perfectly gendered male or female child is just not very nice, and I really felt for these people whose stories I heard about that. I don't think it's good for anyone to pick the gender of someone, and I think it's very difficult when there are a lot of people who prefer a girl, would prefer a boy as a child. I think that some people naturally do feel that way. You can't blame them for feeling the way they feel, in the sense that everyone's entitled to have their own feelings, and you can't stop feeling sometimes. They just are what they are. But like, I sometimes think that my parents wish they'd had a boy, because like I was treated a bit like a boy as a kid, but then I've got some male traits now, which is not really surprising, is it? I think I should try a bit like a guy growing up a little bit. So, but in a way it's good, in a way that I didn't just get like female gendered toys. I got boy gender toys as well. So I think that was quite nice in some ways. Because I had like, apparently I used to go around telling people in primary school that they were like, they shouldn't have dolls. My mum said. I don't remember saying that, but apparently I used to go around telling them off being stupid for having dolls. But I remember I had 2 dolls, Polly and Penelope. So I don't understand why I'd be saying that to other kids. It doesn't seem right. It seems a bit strange. But I remember I had cars as well. I had a toy orange car and a pink car that used to spark. But I remember I said, I think on this channel, I got taught to shoot an air rifle with pellets in it under 6 years old. I mean, that's traditionally what a guy would do, but as he's older. Liam and my life. There's more intersex people than society thinks there are, and intersex isn't just physical traits, it can be hormones and chromosomes too. Yeah, that's so true. My life. Liam, everyone is valid. Intersex, gays, lesbians, bisexual, non-binary, asexual, aromantic and romantic asexuals and orientations. Precisely. Yep. I didn't. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on intersex on the internet. There's a society, Intersex Society of North America, for example. So it says causes of intersex. Most causes of intersex, I'm reading this out from the internet, are congenital or born with it, usually because of a genetic condition. All development is governed by genes which regulate the process of growth. Most common intersex variation is a hormone condition. So yes, my life is completely right about that. I read about that as well, that it can be to do with hormones and chromosomes. The people that I have known online that are intersex, they've actually been born with both male and female genitalia. The people that I've spoke to, they've had both sets. But yeah, you are right. It can be hormones and chromosomes too. So yeah, I think it's very important. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there because I think that's a nice note to leave it on. The intersex people are very valid and all orientations are very valid and beautiful. And you have to remember that the difference is your beauty. You know, I know there's a lot of people that feel like who are asexual and other sexualities, but you know, I talk to a lot of asexual people, obviously, you know, that feel that, you know, kind of like struggle and feel frustrated and even unhappy or sad that they're so different from the rest of the society. But actually it's a blessing, you know. We're 1% of the population, asexuals are, you know, and it's good to not be robots. It's good to see the life in a completely different light, you know. Like asexuality to me is like a very, very big awakening. You know, you wake the heck up to the reality of the situation of sexuality in general. You know, people are not awakened. So many people are being conditioned right now from basically when they're born all the way up to adulthood that, oh, heterosexuality is the normal sexuality, and you know, you have to have sex in order to have a loving, happy, healthy relationship. And if you want to get into a relationship later on, you have to have sex in it to be loved. And the love and the sex association is so disruptive and destructive. Yeah, really, really bad, you know. And I think when you realize you're asexual, it's an awakening. You're like, hang on a minute. Oh, that was conditioning. There's someone conditioning me like a robot, and I'm not a robot, and this is really me. And you have to kind of shed your old skin. Like you kind of have to shed, like a snake, you have to shed, not I'm saying you are a snake, but you know, like a snake, a beautiful caterpillar that goes out of its chrysalis, you know what I mean? You have to shed that old layer of skin and come out as a new version of you that you were always meant to be, and get rid of all that conditioning and throw off your conditioning suit and get into your nice new suit that's actually you. And so you realize, like, to me, like, asexuality is a huge awakening. It's like a spiritual awakening, you know. It's like, wow, like all these people are just sleeping. They're like sleeping robots. This is a bit deep now, but they are like sleeping robots. Animals support LGBT plus humans, and animals support LGBT plus humans are the only living creatures on Earth that have homophobia, transphobia, etc. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, they're conditioned, they're like robots. That's the problem. They're so like robots and they don't even realize it's like they're in a trance. A lot of the world is like in a trance. Like I remember a taxi driver saying that to me once. He was very angry because I told him I was asexual and I didn't like sex and he didn't understand it. He's like, "Oh, so you're in a trance." I'm like, "So you're in a trance then because you're heterosexual, are you?" And he didn't like that. He got very angry, but he was driving, so I had to shut up because I'm not prepared to lose my life over just telling him what he doesn't want to hear. And so, but it's like a lot of the population, they're in this kind of trance. It's like they're brainwashed, aren't they? And conditioned to believe heterosexuality, sex is love, love is sex, which is totally incorrect. Just think of all the children that are brought up to think, oh, later on in life you've got to have sex in order to be loved. When you get married, you've got to have sex. Even if you don't have sex before marriage, you've got to expect it during marriage. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like ick. And a lot of them are actually the ones that are in a trance because they've been conditioned so much. In a lot of ways it's not even their fault, their conditioning, but unless someone wakes them up and they're prepared to get out of their actual trance they're in, it's just like they're fixated. But a lot of people are fixated on, for years fixated thinking that an employed job is the answer to security. And that's changing now in the world, and more people are realizing that being employed by an employer isn't very secure either anymore. Do you know what I mean? There's thousands upon thousands of people that have lost their jobs in the UK and I think all over the world as well. So I made sure people at my school found out what asexuality was. Thank you, my life. That's very, very important. Very, very important. The more we can spread the awareness of asexuality, the better. The more people we have, bringing our voice forward, being brave to help other people, I think is incredible. And we just have to keep going. And the more of us that keep going, the better. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Really, really lovely to see you, Liam. Thank you for being here throughout this live stream. And thank you so much, my life. It's lovely, lovely to see you. I really appreciate you being here. And my life, unfortunately, I won't be going to school anymore because I'm going to see if I can go in as a speaker. Oh, but you can see if you can go in as a speaker. You go in as a speaker, my life. Go, my life. Liam, my life 23. We are the only homophobic animals most humans use. What did Liam say before I go? My life 23. We are the only homophobic animal. Most humans use religion to be homophobic. Other animals don't have religion. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's very good for anyone to be homophobic, I mean, I have romantic friends. I'm 100% happy to have gay friends, even lesbian friends. So, I'm not a fan of religion either. Yeah, I don't usually get involved in religion or politics of other people's or traditionally. Do you know what I mean? I have my own little beliefs, big beliefs, and that's about it. So, I think it's not good. I don't get involved in religion or politics. I just think they're two things that cause a lot of conflict and inner pain. Love you, Sandra. Great to see you, sweetheart. Oh, you're an atheist. Yeah, my best friend Sam's an atheist as well. Yes. I'm not an atheist. I'm actually class Christian, but I don't believe in the Holy Spirit. And I just talk to God pretty much every day. And I'm spiritual as well. I'm like, God's my mate. Woohoo! He's done a lot to help me. And I talk to him every day pretty much. But yes, that's pretty much my religion. And I, because in the religion, Christianity, is supposed to believe in the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I don't believe in the Holy Spirit, and I don't talk to Jesus. I just talk to God, and Jesus happens to sit there. And yeah, that's about it. And I talk to God a lot, and I'm like saying gratitude quite a lot every day. I think it's important to practice gratitude, and even if you don't believe in God, just say what you're thankful for. It really helps, But God sent me for a higher purpose. I think I've been here before in life, and I'm back again. And my mission is to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation throughout the globe, so that no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. You gave me that task. It's a big task. Anyway, I'm with you. I'm with you. You're a goddess. Thank you, my life. I keep saying goodbye, but I kind of like talking to you. Virtual kisses to you, Sandra. Love you. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I think I've been sent on life missions by him above. So I've got to fulfill them, haven't I? Even though, it might take me a while. Anyway, lots of love to you. And thank you so much, my life. Thank you so much, Liam. Lots of love to you. Thanks for the kisses. Lots of love. Thanks for all the love and kisses. I'll see you on the next video live stream. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget, subscribe if you're new to this channel. Hit that great big bell icon to get notified of every time I go live. Right now, I'll post a new video. And I'll see you in the next video or live stream. Don't forget, give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, because this helps raise this awareness of asexuality and the channel. And I love you to bits. Take care. Bye, Liam. Bye, my life. And bye, whoever else is watching. I appreciate you both. And all of you. Take care. Bye. Racial craggy and each other's. Bye-bye.